In the Gospel of John, chapter 4, verse 21, Jesus saith unto her, a Samaritan woman, believe me, the hour cometh when you shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship what you know not. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. This is Jesus speaking to a Samaritan woman in the Gospel of John. But the hour cometh, and now is when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. God is not Jesus. You know why? Because he's talking about another person being God. God, you should worship. If Jesus was God, he should be telling the Samaritan woman, I am God, worship me. Right? He's not telling her that. If he's God, he's doing a very bad job in telling people that he's God. He's confusing people deliberately if he is God. Rather, he's saying God the Father is God and salvation is of the Jews. Mark the words, salvation is of the Jews. So what concept of God did the Jews have? The Jews worshipped a unipersonal God called the Father. And Jesus clearly acknowledges that in the New Testament, as we will see. Jews never worshipped a Trinity. Jews never worshipped Jesus. Their concept of God was very, very clear. They worshipped one person alone, that was the Father, according to the Gospel of John chapter 8 verse 54. Jesus clearly states that the Jews worship the Father alone. They say Father is their God. So if that's the case, how can the salvation be of them? Jesus is saying salvation is of the Jews because their concept of God is correct, because that's what Jesus was discussing in this passage. John 4:21. He is discussing the concept of God with a Samaritan woman, and he tells us that she doesn't understand what God is. We do. We the Jews. Salvation is of the Jews. How can salvation be of the Jews if their concept of God is incorrect, which does not include Jesus as God?